everyone. Welcome to the Cloud Underground podcast. This is our very, very first episode. I'm Laura Anderson Riley, and this is my partner in life and in business, Nate O'Reilly. And we are part of the leadership team of the Cloud Underground. We're kind of a small team at this point because we're very new. But because we're new, for our first episode today, we just kind of wanted to talk about what we do and why we do what we do and who we are, and just talk a little bit about a case study that we've been working on, and and just kind of give you an idea of what you might be tuning in for in our future weekly podcasts.
Yeah. Podcast number one.
Yeah. High five. We're doing it.
We started. It happened. And you know,
start somewhere, right?
Laura worked really hard to get us to this point.
Well, we all did.
Well, that's true, but I mean, you've just pretty much just been like. I mean, I guess we've all kind of been a little bit like that. But
well, we're a whole team of like coders and engineers, so we always do a lot of this.
That's true. I guess. Well, Jordan too.
Yeah. So I guess we should talk a little bit about like who we are. So again, my name is Laura. I am CEO of the Cloud Underground, which is a cloud native startup that we're working to disrupt the internet one container at a time. Nato is our chief operations officer. And then also not joining us today, but who we will be introducing on our podcast in coming weeks, are our chief technical officer, Jordan Anderson, and our chief information officer, Randall Massey. So shout out to Randall
shout out to
and
everyone.
Jordan, and thanks for all you guys do, because we wouldn't be here without them either. And we'll be talking about them more, I'm sure, throughout this episode, because like, how can we possibly talk about Cloud Underground without talking about them as well? Cloud Underground.
So I guess the big question is like, what is it? Like when you think of Cloud Underground, what do you think? Does it have to do with Ninja Turtles or alligators or both?
Probably both, But really, what I think about when I think about Cloud Underground is just our movement to really kind of like change the internet and make this new and emerging technology of cloud native, apps and cloud native development, and edge computing as well, to just like make all of this more accessible to the world and to everyone, which is really what we're trying to do. We're trying to make everything easier and more affordable. Well, maybe not easier, because there's a little bit of a learning curve to all of this, but if you're a developer, it's doable.
Maybe
but
more
really,
accessible.
we're making the more affordable. Yeah, for you to have the development tools that you need to really do whatever you want online, which is really what we're all about, because that's what we want. We want to be able to have the freedom to live the lives that we want to live, and make a living primarily online in a remote way that we can do from anywhere, whether we're home or traveling or doing whatever we're doing. And we want to make that accessible to more people as well.
Completely, because I mean, you could think back to like the year like 2000, and it's like people had pagers, and like maybe some people had cell phones and things like that. But then the text plans didn't work all too well. You didn't have like internet on your phone. We didn't have all these things that we have these days. And even when you go back to the 90s or the 80s, there was no internet, and so you couldn't just go and make a living purely on the internet. But now,
things are so different now. I mean, I think in those days, I mean, especially after the pandemic and all of that, where I think everything has been pushed even more online than it was before, which honestly, like, I'm all for. I've been working remotely even before that. It's been a steeper transition though for people, I think, especially people who weren't raised with the internet quite as much as we were. I obviously remember a time before the internet, but I never worked in a time before the internet.
Right.
But for those people who were in the workforce before that, it probably is a bit of a transition, and I'm sympathetic to that as well. But totally. I think it's a good thing to have that flexibility.
And it really means that like you can work how you want, not even necessarily just where you want, because the whole idea of like working online, now people are kind of being forced to work online a little bit in ways, or forced to figure out how to try to work online in ways, which is, I guess, stressful, you know, if you've never worked online before. But, you know, there's this reality of like, all of a sudden, it's like, even if you don't like to travel, because it's like some people will be like, oh, if you want to travel, it's great to work online. But what if you just want to be able to, you know, work at your pace and command your own schedule, where it's like maybe you can do a little bit of work in the morning here, and you can just like go and do your own thing and maybe pick at work throughout the day. And you don't really want to do the whole office thing. You don't want to deal with the commute.
I mean, there are a lot of benefits. But you were actually even on a podcast today where you were talking about some of the challenges of that sort of lifestyle as well, which is that it's so easy to just stay like plugged in forever. But
like too plugged in.
That's maybe a conversation for another day. But to get back to a little bit about, you know, the Cloud Underground and, you know, a little more about like who we are and what we do. We have a few things that we offer. One of the primary services, or really things that we're like most passionate and excited about, is the DevSecOps Dojo. Nato is our sensei for the dojo.
Yes, I am the DevSecOps Dojo sensei.
Yes. So the dojo is our kind of professional development community. It's a way for professionals to kind of stay kind of ahead of the curve and stay on top of like new and emerging technologies in the cloud and somewhat cybersecurity space as well.
Especially for developers.
Yeah. And you can, do you want to say anything else about that, about the dojo and what you guys are doing?
You know, at a high level, like the DevSecOps Dojo was kind of built around the whole idea, because the Cloud Underground was founded on the dojo, basically. When we started the dojo, it was sort of its own unique service where, you know, there was an idea of like, hey, you know, in 2020, we had this idea to teach people how to, you know, do things through real world experiences. And that led to us launching a dojo where we're like, well, what if you wanted to learn cloud? How about we just teach you how to build cloud all the way from like the bare metal machine all the way up to the way that the user uses whatever you're doing, you know, cloud, right? Cloud from its baby physical state all the way to where it goes. And, you know, we made these claims that were like, we're gonna build the Cloud Underground together, and we'll show you not only how to build cloud, but how to monetize it and everything. So we literally built the Cloud Underground. Here we are doing exactly what we said. So you know, it's like, do you want to know how to build everything literally from ground zero all the way up to having like a fully monetized cloud? Basically, I guess it's somewhat of like a technical business training.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think that's a good way to
bringing the human element to the technical, because most technical training lacks humanity in it and human beings, like in mind space. You go to take they're like, this is how you type perfect binary. This is how you can make Python, make parrots swing from the, I don't know.
Yeah.
All the fancy stuff. It's like, we were like, what if humans were involved? How to make something that people want to buy, and then how to deliver it to real people and sell it to them, and then have a business that you can run for a decade or longer until you feel like selling it, or whatever you want. Yeah.
The other thing that we offer with the Cloud Underground is we sell the technology that makes it possible for you to you know, develop and might make your life easier if you're in the dojo, which is our cloudlets and supercomputers, which we build primarily using Raspberry Pi. Those are assembled in-house. We design the cases and print them ourselves and put those together for you and ship them out, and we sell them on Etsy. We'll flash those up on the screen so you guys can know what those look like. And the final thing that, well, I don't know, I guess we should, is there anything we should talk about our cloudlets and supercomputers?
Well, I guess with the cloudlets and the supercomputers, because the DevSecOps dojo is very much centered around like skills and building everything yourself, you could think of it as like 'cause it's a dojo. The hardware is basically like your katana. You know, if you're like learning how to be a samurai, like a digital samurai, and you're gonna go out and take over the world. I guess I don't know if samurais take over the world, but you know, it's your weapon to go and your tool to take care of whatever you need to do and serve justice to make sure that people get the trainings that they need, the technologies and apps that they need, whatever you're trying to host for people. You could teach classes, you could host websites, you could host cell phone apps. You could host little cell phone games that people can sit there and they're like, whoa, this Candy Crush game is sweet.
Yeah, so me personally, I'm trying to learn CSS code. I'm learning CSS coding. It's been a little slow because I'm also like building a business at the same time. But so I've been using it to learn how to create like WordPress templates and learn CSS through various trainings and that sort of thing. So.
And it's just a supercomputer because it's kind
it's
of like
great.
if people are like, well, how can you use it for so many things? Well, think about it's like how many things can you use a laptop for? Think about it more in like that context, except for...
I mean, really the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, you know,
it's like a little Linux-based operating system. You can do so much with them. You can cluster as many nodes into it as you want. You can build it up, expand it.
It's literally a tiny data center.
Build an, home secure. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, it's literally a tiny data center on your desk. When you think about like if you've ever worked at any company and they're like, oh, the server went down, like this would be the server, or they're like it's a whole data center.
Bare metal on your desk.
Yeah. And what's the difference between a supercomputer and like a laptop? The difference between a supercomputer and a laptop is like, let's say that you're trying to have a bunch of users using something and like an app. And let's say that your one server in its existing state when you first get it can host 10 people. Well, let's say that all of a sudden you're like, well, more people want to use it. Maybe like 20 people want to use it. Maybe like 50 people want to use it. Well, supercomputing allows you to add additional resources versus a laptop or a single server. And this is what's called cloud native. It means that you can just add things and it's not a big deal. You're like, oh no, we don't have enough hardware resources. Don't worry. You can add whatever you need. Just add as many as you want.
Awesome.
You can grow unlimitedly.
And then the final thing that Cloud Underground is going to be offering is our Olympiad deployment. So the Olympiad is an open source software solution that NATO has created, which I'll let you talk about in a second. And so the Olympiad deployment is for small and medium-sized businesses that need extra security. I mean, really, it's kind of, we're developing this on a case-by-case basis. So if that's something you might be interested in, using our tools to scale or, protect your business, you can contact us and let us know if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, Nathan, you should talk a little bit more about the Olympiad and what the Olympiad deployment is going to be offering.
So first and foremost, first I'll explain it to let's say that you're not the technical person who knows what these things are.
Yeah.
For the most part, this deployment that we're talking about in the Olympiad is it's essentially software that can be installed and set up on, say, whatever hardware that you're running, like generally like servers. It could be like an AWS cloud server, or it could be a server in your office, or it could literally be a bunch of Raspberry Pis that you run, or you can actually get gear directly from us, like our official owned stuff where we just do everything for you, including set up hardware for you and things like that. But the Olympiad is software. It's no different from like if you get Microsoft Office Suite. You can install it on whatever hardware. Well, in this case, this is just a software suite with tools designed for building cloud. Now, if you're not trying to build cloud, then the Olympiad is probably not going to be for you. But if you have a need to build or develop or create scalable cloud. Emphasis on scalable. And if someone doesn't know what scalable means, then once again, it's probably not for you if you don't know what the concept of scalable is and all that stuff. So it just means that it's software that allows you to host things and then add like really as much hardware as you want. Now, what this deployment is for and what this deployment actually is it's a development center for not just developing but also hosting applications on a server in a format that lets you add more hardware as needed. That's really what it is. And then the way that we accomplish this is through using both Docker and Kubernetes. And there's something called the cloud native landscape. And so we focus on cloud native tools exclusively. And so this is a cloud native toolbox designed to work agnostically with tools found in the cloud native landscape and make it easier to work with those types of tools. That's what the Olympiad is for. So are you trying to go cloud native? Do you not know what cloud native is? And do you like the idea of like these types of things? That's what this sort of thing is. That's what this sort of thing's about. And it just means that like, okay, so I can basically just get this software and it just lets me just keep adding resources for whatever application I want. That's great. That's what it is.
And should we also say that like the deployment is, will kind of help you tailor those resources to what you need and help you figure out how to use them correctly for your business needs.
Yeah, that's right. And the whole idea of what we do is we focus on something called hybrid cloud. Mm-hmm. And so our idea is that whatever your hardware you're using, all hardware can be used to accommodate your hosting and basically be used to just be more resources for your hosting to let you take more customers, take more users.
Right.
I guess what was your question again?
No, I mean that's great. I think it's just very much like customizable solutions.
Yeah, it's
for your business.
That's right.
Yeah.
And Laura said it so well. It's designed to be fitted like a glove to your company. Do you already have servers and you want to go ahead and start using this stuff on stuff that you already have? It's very expensive to abandon this equipment that you already have, that you already spent a lot of money on, that might be really good stuff. But then what if you don't already have your own gear? Well, not a big problem, not a big deal in the slightest, because we can produce all of the foundational hardware pieces that you need to get started. Mm-hmm. And what we do is we focus on lightweight and minimal deployment. So you'll get lightweight and minimal resources.
Yeah.
And it's, it's on discussion. So we have a conversation with you. You let us know what you're trying to do, and we make sure that we get you the hardware so that the software will work with what you're trying to accomplish.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's you can find more about all of these things on our website. Apply for the dojo. Go find our Etsy shop to buy your own Olympiad hardware, or learn more about the deployment at cloudunderground.dev. Cloudunderground.dev.
That's right. And I guess one other thing I should say about the cloud, or the Olympiad. The Olympiad is designed to even make like multiple clouds just like one cloud. So let's say that you have multiple data centers around the world, like in 5 different locations, and you want all 5 of those data centers to all think that they're just one server in one location. That's the power of the Olympiad in a nutshell.
Yes. Awesome.
And it lets you have up to 5,000 computers that all think that they're one.
Yes, you can cluster up to 5,000 nodes onto your supercomputer.
And they don't even have to be the same hardware. You could have like 2,000 Raspberry Pis and 100 giant random servers of who knows what.
And some Jetsons.
Toss some Jetsons in there. Just start tossing Jetsons.
Awesome. All right. Well, there you go. That's Cloud Underground, sort of in a nutshell, as far as like what we offer. But really, the other point of this episode was we wanted to kind of talk about philosophically, like what we're about, and what you can hope to see from us in the future. So of course, as a woman-owned, Black-owned business, diversity is something that's really important to us, especially in an industry that's like the cyberspace and the IT space can be, a little, can lack that diversity in a lot of ways. And so more and more, we really want to encourage people of color, people, women, LGBTQ individuals, like anybody who is interested in this technology, like we want to help you grow in your career, and help you, encourage you to create your own business and create your own solutions, invent like we have, like Nathan has, and that's kind of what we're all about. We want to create opportunities for people who might have not had opportunities in the past because of, for whatever reason, ethnicity, gender, religious beliefs, whatever. We don't care. We kind of welcome everyone, and
yeah, we really want you to be able to, because one of the benefits of what we do is, you could think of it as what we provide as, I guess, cloud fabric. And if you like to craft and you like to make things, we provide the fabric for you to craft something with. So if you have a vision, or you have something that you wish that you could do, or maybe, and if it involves being on the internet, if it's an app, or if it's like a website, or if it's something like an online community or a forum, anything online, if it's an online thing and it involves hosting like online classes, you name it. If it's an online thing, we focus on helping you turn these visions and then take that fabric that we produce and then craft something custom with it. Something that you can afford, and something that you want, and then something that's meaningful, and really, sky's the limit.
Yeah, I very much so. I mean, that's the beauty of what we do. And the other thing that we really believe in is like open source solutions. We want things to be like super easy for anyone to be able to access. Like, you don't have to be spending like crazy amounts of money on licensing for software.
All open source.
It's very restrictive, or a lot of these things can be really restrictive unless you have like a lot of money. And again, like that's another thing that we're really trying to do, is like make this technology like affordable and accessible, and the software solutions all like open source, so you can use our hardware, or really you can build out your own hardware if you don't want to use ours, and you can still use the Olympiad. It's open source.
Yeah, the Olympiad's just software. Yeah. It's just open source software. And
go read the white paper and quick start guide and set it up yourself, and there you go. I don't know. We want things to be as easy as possible,
And we haven't released. Yeah, and we haven't released the right now. Like, so, the version of the Olympiad that's being released via the Cloud Underground is going to be much more robust and sophisticated than what is found in the Olympiad white paper, and so it's really a completely different animal. It's something that also includes monitoring. It's got built-in security monitoring, and if you are someone who's trying to be like the developer and the CEO at the same time, like that's a really hard thing to accomplish and a really hard thing to achieve. But the Olympiad does allow you to be both the developer and the CEO at the same time of whatever project you're building, even if it's not necessarily for a business, just like you're running everything, right? And then as the developer, one of the things the Olympiad does is it lets you. Oh, I just totally spaced my thought. But it's a good one.
That's okay. It happens. It'll come back to you. If it'll come back to you. Well, I just a couple other things that I guess. I don't know.
It helps you do many things. Oh, well, that's right. What I was talking about is like if you're like the CEO.
Yes,
if you're the CEO and the developer like at the same time, it also gives you security. That was the most important part. That's the DevSec. The Olympiad helps you put the sec in your DevOps.
There you go.
Very much so. The Olympiad, it's like a secure structure that you have to understand how to make sure that it's secure, and that's what the DevSecOps Dojo is for. It's like, do you not know how security works? Don't worry.
We'll
Join the
help you learn.
DevSecOps Dojo. You could actually join the DevSecOps Dojo, and then within 3 years walk away with, in college you walk away in 4 to 5 years with a degree. DevSecOps Dojo, you walk away within 3 years with a monetized business with applications and things that you made yourself with your own hands and your own bare metal and your own resources.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's what the DevSecOps Dojo is for.
Get hands-on. Get
Yeah.
hands-on with your learning and with your, development, with your business. Do it yourself. You can do it small.
Yeah, it's kind of like building a business as education. That's kind of what the dojo is, I guess, in a lot of ways. And then using
Absolutely.
like the Olympiad, because the Olympiad is just literally a toolbox.
Yeah, and so that's, a couple things that we really are like cultivating right now is the dojo. We really are, we really want that to like grow and flourish and become like a really, it already is like a great place for developers and a great community, and we just want that to continue to grow. So if you're interested in that, we have a little application process on our website, but it shouldn't be too demanding. And the other thing that I also really want to emphasize about the dojo and about like another reason to join it is like not only can you build your own business, but you also very much like something that is important to us is to kind of stay on the cutting edge of this technology. And the Olympiad is in and of itself kind of a brand new technology that was just invented by Nathan and is super innovative in and of itself. And so we really want to foster that, but also be keeping, in with the trends and making sure that like new and innovative things are being like integrated in what we're doing and in what we're teaching, so that you can also benefit from this knowledge. And we're kind of constantly monitoring cyber news and trends, and we can and part of being in the dojo is you get to learn those things along with us. Yeah So
exactly.
Another thing that the dojo has been that Nathan is working on with the dojo is a case study. And so we thought, since we're here, we might as well, and since the case study is sort of about our transition and our journey along to where we are now, I thought we could talk a little bit about our case study and what we're going to be presenting. So, Nathan, take it away. Case study.
So I've always been somewhat of like a business geek. I almost got my MBA in business and stopped at a bachelor's, but continued reading because, that's after getting my bachelor's in business, I ended up in technology instead. But then having a little bit of a mix between going off the deep end from a technical standpoint to having a background in business, I've gotten to the point where I've started bringing it together. Mm-hmm. And so what the case study is all about is, at the end of the day, if you're trying to do business, you're trying to build business, business moves what some people will call at the speed of business. And you can Google that term. You can Google what is moving at the speed of business. And realistically, most things in business just take a very long amount of time. And if you're trying to start a business, then generally speaking, it takes most businesses about 3 years or so until they can get to a certain general point of whatever they're trying to do or accomplish. And so 3-year cycles are a very important thing in the context of trying to be realistic about trying to build a business or a project.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Because if you're like, I'm going to start a business, and then you're like, oh, but I have to build all this stuff? Well, but that's going to take a really long time. It's like, what? I thought you were trying to start a business. If you're trying to start a business, ideally it's a lifestyle, and that's something that's going to be going on for, if it's successful, longer than 3 years.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If you want it to be successful, then you want it to take a long time. You want to put a lot of time into the front end of like creating the business and creating a successful model and finding a successful model and finding a good business idea.
And so
cultivating all of that.
That's exactly right. And the case study is kind of founded on the expectation that if you're serious about business, that you're going to be committing to a minimum of at least 3 year cycles. If you're not going to commit to something for at least 3 years, then probably shouldn't consider working with us or starting a business.
Commitment issues.
You probably won't get very far with a business if you're not trying to go longer than that. So what we've done with the case study is we've taken a look at our own 3-year development cycles, and since the Olympiad was built over a 3-year development cycle with a company called Notia Point, the case study is all about like how did Notia Point go all the way from its ideation, like concepts and coming up with these ideas like, oh, customers are saying this would be nice, all the way to we have a fully operational manufacturing center with software and a team, and all this stuff that's been like fully developed. That didn't happen overnight. It took time. It took a while. And so the case study starts all the way back at, what did 2018 look like when we started building the Olympiad? And then what were the things that created the Olympiad? Because I'll tell you a secret, or a hint rather. The Olympiad, you don't come up with ideas like that just by being like, oh, I have this great idea. You don't just wake up and have like a great idea with cloud or any.
Yeah, I feel like that was
ideas.
Years in the making, just of like ideation, just of like thinking in your brain about it before it actually became the code.
Yeah, it takes years. That's right. It takes years. And so we started with like at 2018, what did what we were doing look like? And then 2019, what did it look like at that point? And then 2020, how did we go from what we had at that time to boom, now we have this whole platform. Now we've invented the Olympiad. Now we've done all this stuff. Now we monetized it. How do we monetize multiple applications? How did we identify like our most successful applications? How did we even launch the DevSecOps Dojo in the first place? How did we fund it? How were we able to afford all of this? Because really, if we're doing full time like trying to build cloud stuff, that's a lot of time. And that's and to have that time, you got to have money. And if you're not like doing something else for money, how do you do that? So that's a lot of what the case study is talking about. Is like, how is this possible? It's not comfortable necessarily. You can do just about anything with cloud. It's like freedom in your hands.
Right.
On your desk, because we build clouds on your desk. Desk-sized clouds.
Cloudlets.
Desk clouds. Yeah.
Cloudlets and supercomputers.
Your home can be
on
AWS.
Our Etsy shop.
Yeah. Your home can be AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud Platform.
Yeah.
Just your own home.
In your own home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Amazing.
Well, awesome. Thank you for talking about the case study and summarizing that for us, Nathan. And we wanted to introduce you all to like one other important member of our team. Oh, here he comes. Our most important member, arguably. He's slow moving. He's been napping, so he's. Oh, Augustus. This
is the real owner of everything we do.
Of everything
the
we
ruler.
do. He is, yes.
The ruler of everything.
The real president of the company.
The creature who has brought us all of the things that have gone well.
Yes. So.
Well, you need him because he's blocked by the mic here.
Come here. Yes.
There you go.
Oh, look.
There. You can be seen there.
Here's Augustus. Yes. He is such a good boy. Oh, he's like getting his moment on the camera.
Oh, he's just tired.
Oh, he's so sweet.
He's like, I am so tired. I don't even care.
So anyway, yeah, thank you guys for watching our first podcast episode. Tune in next week, which is going to be a much more like more of our normal format. We just wanted to introduce ourselves and Augustus and talk about Cloud Underground. And so next week, tune in where we're going to talk about some cyber news and talk about a topic of our choice. So come by next week and we'll see you then. Subscribe to our channel, like our video, and say goodbye to Augustus.
She's like, I'm ready to be done.
He's like, I was napping.
Why am I here?
Why did you introduce?
I was having such a nice time.
My lovely naps. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.